So I got started painting, I would say I really got into it in high school.
Well, I had always, as a child, I had always had like piano lessons and some voice lessons. I sang in choirs.
I've always been like the art kid in my family. Whenever someone needed a tattoo or a drawing of their family member, it was always me.
I think that music is just part of me. Okay, first I'll talk about where do I like to practice. It has to be quiet, and I have to feel like I'm not bugging anybody because it's kind of loud. So at first I was practicing down in the basement in the furnace room, and then I decided that, well, wait a second, let me see, where else can I play? I compose in bed. There was a composer, Rossini, who composed in bed. And there's a story that he dropped the page and he didn't want to pick it up, so he just rewrote the page. But I'm not that lazy. I love bed and being in bed because then I get my coffee and my scores, and I can just get really involved in what's happening with the music. Playing the violin is a long road. This is not just a simple endeavor. This violin was made in 1907, and at the time that I bought it in the late 70s, or my dad bought it, it was $3,000, $3,200 for the violin alone, not counting the case or the bow or anything. And it has gone up in value, but it is not in the class of fine violins. This is actually called a catalog violin because in 1907, you could have bought this violin from a Sears catalog. If I get away from it, which there's been times in my life that I've been not involved in music, but I always feel like I'm lacking some sort of arm or some sort of very key ingredient to my personality, so I must get back to my music.
I truly believe that my high school art teacher is the one who brought out my creativity, because I just took art as an elective just for fun, and she was just one of those teachers. She just really pushed your limits and introduced me to things that I'd never done before, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I kind of like this, and I think I might be actually kind of good at art. I would say lately my focus has been landscapes and cityscapes, and I'm just kind of working on this whole sense of an environment. I would say for the most part my work is pretty realistic, but sometimes when I'm working so long on a painting and I'm just getting very meticulous, like doing buildings or something very technical, then I need to do an abstract painting after that to just kind of let loose and throw paint at the canvas, because I just need to do something less structured then. But then after that I'll go back to doing my cityscapes or something more meticulous, just because I do find satisfaction with the end result of seeing something with that much detail, but I do like to work with abstract too. When I go different places, I always like to take a lot of pictures, and so when I'm sitting down in front of a blank canvas, I'll sit and think to myself, okay, what haven't I painted yet, or what else can I try? And it's just kind of it'll just hit me, and it's okay, that's it. And sometimes I'll try and warp the image in Photoshop. Other times I'll just work straight from the image. And I don't usually sketch out onto the canvas. I just like to get some paint and just go right for it, and then just keep adding layers upon layers until it gets to the level I want it to be.
It's not so much the end result, but more so the process. It's during that process that you realize that, hey, you can fix this or make this better. And people too often put their final product as their crowning achievement. But really for me, it's more of the process. It's more of the working, bettering yourself to get to that point where you can realize that, hey, I think this is good enough. So my sketchbook consists of a lot of stuff from, it's a mess of sketches, drawings that I've made. And the funny thing is, I'll revisit my sketchbooks from time to time, and I'll look at things that I've done, and it's what was I can do so much better now. So I'll redraw sketches that I've made, but really it's a combination of things that I've done in the past, the things that I've done now. You know, even I'll find some things that my daughter will produce, and it'll find itself in my sketchbook. So it's pretty much all over, and I bring it with me wherever I can. If I don't have my phone with me, it's either my sketchbook in my pocket or a pencil, paper somewhere nearby. A problem or challenges that I face pretty much with all my projects is finding that perfect balance of you know, working between inspiration to trying to make something not look so much like something that is out there.
You try to best represent what's in your head and try to get it out. I mean, I kind of acknowledge the fact that you don't have perfect days and everything might not come right away. I'm actually pretty willing, if I'm stuck, to just kind of set it aside for a while and then kind of move on to some other pursuits, and then either work at it again later or just wait until something strikes me, comes at me. I feel like with the things that I'm capable of doing, it's difficult for me to kind of tether myself to one thing. It's very much rooted in hip hop, since I can rap, but since I can also play instruments, it's also equally as rooted in like the pop styles. Definitely just like an alternative rapper, I guess, since it's not just specifically the raps and the beat making, and I can kind of integrate a lot more of the live instrumentation into there, kind of set myself apart. Heavy is the head of the unknown king, 'cause the crown weighs it down, and I've got a lot of things on my mind. That's just what happens when you've been burdened with glorious purpose, but I'm no god. Do y'all like that whack shit? God. Are y'all drinking absinthe? God. That's why I'm back on this track. I need more lyricists spitting shit that makes an impact, but all work and no play makes defense a dull boy and backtracking. No way, it's time for some new toys, like a Rolls Royce and a big crib. My first choice, I caught dibs on the nectars of what sprang forth from Adam's rib. I'm among the proud and the few that can do this, going for the kill like the lion named Lucius. And full effect is gonna be your next empire. Sorry if you knew that, I'm preaching to the choir. Ah!
Woo!
Thank you. It's just people you meet, and they might be skeptical at first, but you just kind of have to prove yourself, and then they'll just kind of be like, all right, you're good, you do what you do, just stay in your lane, it'll be all right.
When I am being most creative, that's when I'm most happy, I've realized. So if I go like a long streak without painting, it's like, okay, I need to get back into it, because it's just like a mental release for me.
It's this constant battle to just like better yourself, like as a person.
My need for becoming a better artist.
Then just like through art and just kind of make something that resonates with people and just kind of has an impact on people, sticks around for a long time.
I just love it. I am most happiest if I've got something going. And if I'm not creating music, then I'm creating something.
It's like that desire to just leave your mark on the world.
To share classical music with people so that they can kind of understand that it's actually really good music.
With every painting, it is like a little piece of myself, and a lot of times a painting will not end up the way that I thought it was going to, and those are always like learning moments.
People always ask, like, how do you draw so well? It's because I'm always drawing. I'm always trying to find something that's hard to draw or hard to produce, and I'll try to render it as close as possible.
Good music, no matter what genre, will resonate. with people. And that's always the goal for me. Just make good music that resonates.
When I create paintings, it's like telling my life story.
No one tells you to bring a sketchbook. I do it because I love sketching and drawing. I've always been the art guy, and I'm still loving art, so I think I'll be the art guy for a long time.